I've got just a simple little, I got it off Amazon, weekly planner that's blank, and that works best for my weekly review. I know some other people, I think, use just spiraled notebooks, but I do like the weekly planner layout.
Welcome to the Simply Convivial podcast. I'm Mystie Winckler, homemaker, homeschool mom of 5, grandma of 1, and author of Simplified Organization, Learn to Love What Must Be Done. Today, I'm joined by Clarissa Ramsey. She's been on the podcast before. She's a member inside Convivial Circle. She's a mom of 4 who has been homeschooling for the past 10 years because her husband insisted on homeschooling. And she's so glad that he did. They love to experience new places as a family and find good coffee shops. And I also think coffee is an essential homeschooling ingredient. So Clarissa and I are going to chat today about homeschooling and some of the things that she has learned and is working on this last school year. We're recording this as we wrapped up one school year, and then now, when you're watching this, you're probably preparing your next school year. And so, Clarissa, why don't you tell us a little bit about your homeschool and then kind of what you've been working on?
Yes, so we started when my oldest was about 4, and we actually do classical conversations, but I do love Charlotte Mason, so we kind of intertwine the two, and I like you said in the intro, I didn't really wanna homeschool at the beginning. I thought, well, maybe we could find a private school, I'll just be involved in the school or something like that. I was raised in public school system and had, I'll be honest, a pretty decent experience, and so that wasn't on my radar at all to homeschool, but my husband insisted on homeschooling. He really thought that that would be what was best, and to be honest, I was kinda like, "Well, surely I can't mess up preschool and kindergarten." And but then I really fell in love with it. I fell in love with having my kids at home and being able to experience all the things with them, being able to travel. My husband's work is pretty flexible, and so we can go and do things when it's maybe not so busy in the summers and or hot. So, so I did really fall in love with it, and the fact that as, we're going through our curriculum or whatever, we can tailor it to them. So, like when my oldest really struggled with long division, we were able to stop and spend almost 2 weeks until she got it, and now it's not a problem. And so I've loved things like that where we can be flexible and be together as a family and go experience some of these things. Like my boys love going to like different war sites. We've got Civil War things around here in Kentucky and Tennessee, and so kind of close by that we can go and learn about these things firsthand.
That's
So that's kind of our homeschooling life.
nice. Yeah, and it is such a joy to be able to learn alongside our kids too, to say, oh, I don't have to be the one imparting everything, but we can be on this like learning journey together. And you start in kindergarten, so you can take it 1 year at a time. And I think it's our own personal education is part of the hidden blessing of homeschooling.
Oh, I totally agree. Because even, like, with all the history stuff, like, I'll be honest, I kinda thought history was boring, and now I enjoy it, and it's fun to do it with them, and even, like, I used to love to read, but I wouldn't say that I read, like, good books.
Mm.
I mean, I wasn't reading, like, terrible stuff, but, like, Charlotte Mason would call twaddle, and so to start really reading the classics and good books and learning and growing with them, because I don't know that I would've without homeschooling, and I didn't even touch on the character building and having being able to play a role in that and to build their character and their relationship with God and just to have a Christian base too.
Yes. It is hard with the pressure then, or sometimes we just put the pressure on ourselves, but there can be pressure for getting all the things done and like making sure they are learning what they need to learn, and with multiple kids, different grades. And it's very easy to fall into the just follow the checklist mentality because we've got a lot to keep track of. We can't keep track of it all in our brain. Like checklists are good, but then sometimes we let the checklists be the thing in charge instead of us being in charge. So I know that was something you were going to share today, is how you've kind of started to balance that relational element of homeschooling and keeping track and doing what needs to be done, but without letting the checklist be what's in charge.
Yes, for sure. So my mom is a retired school teacher and I mean I don't want to talk bad about it, but there was a lot of pressure there too. Like she had a lot of questions. And it took 2 or 3 years for her to realize like, oh, this can work. So, cause one time she was like, are you going to go back and get your teaching degree? No. But I do like a checklist and I like to get it done. And sometimes enforce a time frame that is maybe not realistic and to realize that that is not my main goal in homeschooling and to check all the boxes to do it on a certain time frame and that sometimes we do have to pause and work on the long division longer than the math book says.
Right.
And that's okay. And even, my youngest was a little later to read and to just be patient with that it was worth waiting because, that's just what she needed. I wanted her to love reading. And so if I had kept pushing, then it I think would have squashed that. And so just the remembering my why as to, what is my end goal here and like and why am I even doing this? And it really boils down to that, we're all made to glorify God. And so, and God has put me in this role as a mother and homemaker and homeschooler. And so, am I glorifying Him? Am I remembering that all of my children are not the same and that it's really just keeping my end goal in mind that has helped me the most? So, I know my husband and I sat down, it's been a few years now, and we kind of made up a list of like our kind of like end goals and like who we are. I don't I don't know if you call it a motto statement. He does coaching for a living, so I'm sure he has a fancy term for it that I don't remember. But it was just like things about like we're going to intentionally do these things with our family, like enjoy each other, play together, laugh together, but also to, glorify God and to learn together. So I have that printed off and usually keep it in the front of my planner. And then I've also got a binder with my convivial work, and I put that in there too to try to refer back to it, to just always try to remember why I'm doing this and what my goal is.
Yeah, that is so helpful, but it is a lot of work to go through that process to figure out and put into words,
Yes.
write it out. And
Yeah.
then it's a trick to then look at what you wrote down and actively remember and think about it.
Yes, because when you asked about doing this, I thought, okay, well, where are all of my like statements, my purpose statement, my connection statement? And I had a hard time finding them because I love doing post-its for them. And so they're kind of spread out. Like they might be in my planner, they might be on my bathroom mirror. But those are ways that I remind myself, like, this is what's happened. Like, this is my why.
Mhm.
So,
So then do you move them around? If they're on Post-its, do you move them around and put them in different places? Like the same one moves around? Or
or sometimes I'll replace them
Mhm.
with a new one. But yes, I have moved them around. Or when I do my weekly review, a lot of times I'll pull one of those for my like weekly focus and just kind of write that out for that week. And then I see it each day of the week because I can be real bad about out of sight, out of mind. So, and I, And and it was also remembering simple things to get out of the checklist mindset. Like, so my direction purpose statement for for this art of homeschooling was, because I was made to love God, God has called me to love my family well. So every day I will smile, listen, and hug them.
Mm.
And so it's really simple things, which sometimes in my checklist mind, that was like, "Oh, like, that's really all?" But that really did make a big difference to make sure that I pause and I smile at them and hug them and really listen to them.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's a great one. And that's something you can do every day.
right, right. Even if we're not doing school.
Mhm. So you said you copied these down during your weekly review. Is that like into a planner and handwriting them over again?
Yes, so I've got just a simple little, I got it off Amazon, weekly planner that's blank, and that works best for my weekly review. I know some other people, I think, use just spiraled notebooks, but I do like the weekly planner layout. It just helps me to see, and this one has a area for that it says focus, weekly focus, and so I might write a statement down there, or if there's something that I might be struggling with and I wanna focus on, like, am I maybe not being joyful? Have I fallen into a grumpiness slump? So I might put Philippians 4:4, rejoice always, and again, I say rejoice, and then, I'll put that on my weekly review in that focus area, and then that way I'd look at it at least once a day. And in the weekly review, the dashboard area is a great area for me to see, like, what is happening this week, and it's got an area, for my top 3, they call them just goals, and then each day to help see, like, what has to be done that day. And so I'll use either, like, a statement or a Bible verse or something there to help me stay focused, and then when I do a daily card, if I have room, I might even write it on there to help keep up with it. Because, like I said, if it's sometimes like, if it's not right in front of me, a lot of times it's out the head. Really.
Well, I think just handwriting it is just another way to get it into our minds so much better
Yes.
too. Instead of
Yeah.
like looking at it is good, but handwriting is just another level.
Yes. Yes, and so I love the weekly review to look back and think about what went well, what maybe didn't go well, and then just looking forward, like, what can I keep doing? What maybe do I need to change up a little bit? And to prepare myself for the week, my husband will travel some for work, and so I have to sometimes keep in mind, like, okay, well, he's not gonna be around to help, shuttle kids places or even with meals. And so it's a great way to set up your week, I feel like, even with homeschooling. Like, before Convivial, I don't think I never did anything like that. I had a calendar, but to sit down and think about it in terms of homeschooling, it requires some preparation
Yeah.
and some thought put into it. And I'm pretty sure it was in Art of Homeschooling about, like, this is our job now, like, and how would we treat a job? I wouldn't show up late. I would show up prepared and probably in a good attitude.
You'd be able
So
to pull it together.
right, right. So, so and I had never really thought about even, like, mothering or homeschooling that way. It was just I was just kinda letting it happen, like, just happened. And, there was a lot of chaos and stress added in there with that because I wasn't prepared.
Mhm.
I hadn't thought about anything. Hadn't thought about what is my focus here.
So during your weekly review, are you doing kind of just homeschooling or homeschooling and life together at the same time? How do you work that weekly review time?
So, it's a little bit of both because in that little planner, it's just got each day of the week. And so I'll put down, I kind of pencil in each day of the week, like, okay, we're going to school this day. And if there's something big coming up, like my oldest had a mock trial back in April. And so she had extra practices for that. There was, and so I would pencil those kinds of things in or just, like need to work on this project. And then also just our schedule, like here's where piano is, here's where church is. So I do kind of mix it in together. Now I no longer do a real hard schedule for homeschooling. I found that stressed me out and made the checklist monster like worse. Now we have checklist, like, for our schoolwork, like, each kid does have a checklist that they're expected to do each day, and but to sit down and say, "We're gonna do math lesson 65 on Wednesday," I don't do that anymore, because then I'd get behind, and it made me so stressed out, and then I'm like, "Well, we've gotta do 2 math lessons in a day," but really, we didn't. It
Mhm.
it's gone fine. So, so it is a little bit of a hybrid of like, here's some school stuff, here's our life stuff mixed together.
Yeah. I mean, that is how we're living life. So it makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have any other I love that expression, the checklist monster. Do you have any other tips for taming that monster or shoving him out the door while still using checklists, right? Because not
Right.
just
Right.
going free for all.
No, no, I'm not an unschooler or a free for all. Like we still, like I said, they've got a daily checklist, but it just kind of says the subject, I guess you could say, and then I still like to do my daily card, which is essentially a checklist.
Right.
Um, So, they're still there, but I don't live or die by them anymore, and I try not to let them stress me out anymore, but, I do think that one big thing that plays into that too is distraction. I know that if I felt like I was failing, then I would start to, I guess, more escape or get distracted by things. And so, trying to cut down on distractions in the school day has really helped with my focus and then being more joyful, like setting a better tone for my homeschool. So, just doing simple things like I leave my phone on silent and it's on the kitchen counter,
Mhm.
and to not be distracted by that and to remember like this is kind of like my job right now and I'm we're working for the Lord, so to do everything to the best of our ability and to just kind of remind myself of that because I did used to work full time until I had kids and I would there's been days that like I would not have gone to work that way. Nobody would have wanted a nurse that acted that way.
Oh,
And so, to just remember, like, these are who I'm caring for now. I mean, that's what I did in my job, but to keep focused on the right things, starting my day with the Bible. I said about the phone on the counter, and sometimes just starting the smile and start, like, I've stolen that little phrase, and I've got the magnet on my fridge because sometimes it's just getting started. I'm not much of a morning person, but I do know that when I get up, I do a small Bible study before we start our day. It's always, always better. And something crazy can happen, but it's like I've already set my heart and mind in the right direction. And I mean, it's just by God's grace that I'm able to do keep doing this. And yeah.
And it is. And God's using it in our lives to sanctify us. And so that helps us remember that and keep that first.
Yes, yes, I feel like I've grown so much in my faith and just, like, the fruits of the spirit so much since having children. Like, sometimes I look back and I was like, "Man, I can't believe," like, I d it it was an unexpected side effect, I guess, of having children, like, I just, right, he's growing us through it,
Mm.
and then we get to see our children grow too, and it's so, so amazing, I love it.
It is. Well, thank you so much, Clarissa, for joining us today and sharing.
Thank you. It's been great.
So, I think you can tell from listening to our conversation that it is what you do as a homeschool mom, not what the kids do, not what you have set up as systems to run, but really who you are as a homeschool mom that matters most to a successful homeschool day, week, and whole education. That's why, for the start of this school year, we are beginning Humble Habits inside Convivial Circle. Now is the perfect time to work through Humble Habits, which helps us as moms put together tiny seed habits that help us walk the path of faithfulness personally, because we can't share or teach what we don't have. This time around, I'm doing something I've never done before. The first 25 ladies who join Convivial Circle to do Humble Habits with us this week will get a personalized homeschool routines audit from me. I will reach out to all of our new members joining this week, the first 25 anyway. We have to make sure I have time, and I will give you a form to fill out telling me some of the key pieces of your routine, and then I will send you back feedback to help you know what you should be focusing on and whether or not you're being realistic. To get this personalized audit, something I've never done before, on your current homeschool routines, just join us for Humble Habits inside Convivial Circle. Go to convivialcircle.com to get started today so that you can qualify for that free personalized audit. Convivialcircle.com, where we will repent, rejoice, repeat.